Okay, so what we're going to do in this section is we're going to talk about creating perpendiculars, and in this case, a perpendicular bisector. So to create a perpendicular to a line or a segment, it's going to be a certain construction that we're going to use. Again, check your compass, make sure that they're about the same length between your pencil and your point, and you're not allowed to use a ruler, but you are allowed to use it as a straight edge. Okay, those are the kind of rules of the game. Okay, so let's take a look at how to create a perpendicular bisector to a segment. Okay, so on your paper, go ahead and label it and create a segment. Put me on pause if you need to, but I'm going to continue on. So to create a perpendicular bisector, I need to create a line that's going to come down. It's going to be perpendicular to this one, and it's going to cut the AB in half. In other words, it's going to find a midpoint of that line. If I find a perpendicular and it bisects it, I know where it intersects is also a midpoint. So keep that in mind. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to take your compass, and again, I'm left-handed, so I'm starting over here on A. Maybe you start on the other side. Take your compass, and about halfway is about right there. You want to go well over halfway. I kind of look at it as like a 75% rule. Okay, so I come up here, and I'm going to strike an arc from the bottom all the way up to the top, just like that. Now, you'll get used to how long that line needs to be for it to work, okay? So you're going to strike that arc. Then you're going to keep that exact same setting, go to the other side, and strike an arc. Now I'm dual-handed. I could use my right hand to do it, right? So I'm left-handed, let's say, and you're right-handed, but you can only use one hand. So what you could do is you could turn your paper upside down and strike the second arc. So you can see the two arcs there. And they meet. They should meet at the bottom and at the top of the segment. Now when I take my straight edge and draw a line between those 2 points, I create a perpendicular and it bisects it, so we'll mark it as such. Okay? Alright, go ahead and draw yourself another segment down below. Put me on pause and see if you can do this construction again. If you can't, no need to go any further. You need to go back and make sure you understand that construction again. Write down your steps and then come and do it again. Okay, come back in a few minutes or a few seconds whenever you're done, and I'll be ready and show you how to do it again. Okay, welcome back. So what I'm going to show you is kind of the next step. Instead of drawing these big, huge arcs, creating a lot of extra line, I really don't need to know this stuff. I just need to know where the two arcs cross. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strike below and above, and then I'm going to use that same setting. I'm going to strike below and above. Okay? Now I've created a nice, neat intersection between those 2 points. So now it's time to connect them to create my perpendicular bisector. What I like about doing it this way is it, first of all, it creates a cleaner looking drawing. So there's the perpendicular and there's the bisection. Okay? Of course, that makes that point there, we'll call it E. E is a midpoint. Cool? All right, let's move on. Next up, we're going to be looking at a perpendicular to a line, but let's just make sure that as you're doing this, you have it correct. Now, you can draw the big arcs if you need to, or you can even go back and erase them so that it keeps your drawing nice and clean. But the main thing is that you want your intersection to be very pronounced and that everything is very clean. If you make an arc and it doesn't turn out the way you want, don't keep on going back over it. You erase it and make it nice and clean, single strikes, okay? And it should be light, so don't worry about it if it's light. Same thing as with your lines. Make sure that they go through the points, they don't miss the point. It's not just slightly over, kind of a lazy man's straight line. All right, let's move on. Okay, so now we're looking at perpendicular to a line where the point is on a line. So I need to draw a perpendicular that goes through a line. As you can see, I have arrows on here. And it can go through a certain point on the line. So let's look at that construction. Okay, so perpendicular to a line through a point not or a point on the line. So as you can, this construction is going to only have one step in difference than the construction you just did in the past, where you bisected a segment. The problem is I don't have a segment. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our compass and put it on A and create a segment. Okay, so I'm just going to mark on one side, and then I'm going to come over to the other side, and you can see I've missed my line. I'm too long. So that's no problem. I'm going to take my compass and I'm going to extend my line. Now sometimes you don't have to do this. Sometimes when you do your segment, it works out and then both sides are on the given line. So there's my strike on one side. I'm going to go to the other side and strike that one, and then I'm going to put down a point here and just call it something. I'll call it C. I'll call this one D. Now I have a segment. Now I need to take my brain and delete the idea of this point. I don't need that anymore, other than eventually my line's going to have to go through there. But because I've created C and D the way it is, it's going to force the bisector to come, or the perpendicular to come down through there. I need you to concentrate, not see anything other than these 2 points. And now we're back to the previous construction, bisecting a segment. So take your compass, put it on one of the sides, one of the endpoints, open it up well over halfway, strike above, strike below, strike above, strike below, and then draw your line. And that construction forces a line to go through the point that was given. All right, you have two options. One, go back and watch this video again, or this section of the video again, make sure that you understand this construction. Or let's move on, draw yourself a line with a point on it and see if you can do this construction on your own. Come back and check your work in a few minutes and see if you got the same looking kind of drawing as me. Okay, welcome back. So I'm going to start off by drawing my segment. Now I could just simply close up, choose a setting for my segment endpoints to be on the line so I don't have to extend it. If it's too close, my compass is like having to do something like this, then it's no good, right? So I'd extend my line just to have a good working area. Okay. I need to get that back to the same length. All right, that's good. So I strike on that side. I'm going to strike on this side. Now you might have extended your line. That's going to work and create the exact same thing. Let's go ahead and put points here so my brain can just see it as being a bisection of a segment. Okay, so I don't know, I'm going to call it S and M for Stan Munson, right? All right, cool. Now I'm going to bisect that segment. I'm going to take my compass and put it on one of the endpoints, open it up well over halfway, usually about 75, and I'll strike above and strike below, and I'll come over the other side and I'll strike above and I'll strike below. Now here's the thing. I like to try to keep my drawings as simple and as clean as possible. To make a line, I need 2 points. One of my points is already given, so I really don't need these 2 points. So I'm just going to simply erase the one here, and in the future not even do the top and bottom. Maybe just the bottom or just the top, depending on the problem. And so now it's time to draw that segment, or that line that goes through B and is perpendicular. Get this straight. And there you have it. There's the perpendicular. Okay? Now if it doesn't look perpendicular, I erase it and start over, because this is like artwork. If you want to get 100% of the points, which is really easy to do, you make sure that it looks nice, that you have the marks on there and it's clear. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. The next one is perpendicular to a line through a point that's not on the line. So it's going to look something like this. So you're given the black line and a point that's not on the line, and you've got to get a perpendicular to come through it. So our drawing is going to look something like that. Okay, go ahead and put me on pause if you need to and write your title. Draw a line and put a point down. All right, so the problem is I don't have a segment on my line. If I could create a segment on my line so that I could bisect it just like the previous first compass construction there that I did, then I'm ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my compass and I'm going to open up my compass, my pencil, so that I'm well below the line. Now, not too far, but just right, okay? And if it's too close, it's no good either, okay? So what you want to do is give yourself a nice margin between there. You strike your arc so that it hits the line in two different places. Call that, I don't care, C and D. Sounds good. And now I'm back to the construction of a bisection of the segment. Now, in the bisection of segment, I strike above, strike below, and then go to the other side, strike above, strike below. And so, again, I have a point already that I'm going to connect to another point. So I'm just going to simply take advantage of that point up there and only strike below. That'll make it easier for me. And then there's my perpendicular to the line through the point. All right, put me on pause and see if you can do that one on your own. Come back and check your work, see if it has the same thing. All right, here we go. Now, suppose the problem required me, I don't think I need that much arc, okay? If some reason the arc that you're dealing with required you to go off your line, then you just extend it. It's no big deal, okay? So let's see, that looks pretty good right there. So I'm just going to strike my arc. Then I'm going to go down here, strike below, strike below. And there's my perpendicular through a point not on the line. Cool? That's it. Have a fantastic day.